Dems punished at the polls. Hundreds of Lib Dem councillors lose their seats and power across the country. A backlash at being in the coalition.
This is the ITV News at 6:30 with Alistair Stewart and Julie Etchingham.
Tonight, counting in the referendum on the voting system is underway, and it looks like that too will be a defeat for Mr Clegg. Also tonight, a seismic shift in Scottish politics as the SNP wins a majority in Parliament. Could it lead to a break-up of the UK?
Guilty the men behind a paedophile porn ring that traded millions of pictures and abused hundreds of children.
July 7th bombings and the lessons learned which could keep us safer.
Good evening. Humiliating, a good kicking, a real knock. There was no positive spin to put on the Lib Dems' punishment at the polls today. They were the main losers in the biggest snapshot of voters' opinion since the general election.
It was the party's worst ever showing in local elections and led to calls from some Lib Dem council leaders for Nick Clegg to stand down. And when results of the alternative vote referendum are released later, he's likely to come under even greater pressure.
In the English local elections, the Lib Dems' vote collapsed. Labour and even the Tories made gains. The Lib Dems have lost at least 625 seats by the latest count, and with it control of many councils in the north, including Nick Clegg's constituency base of Sheffield.
In the Scottish Parliament, the SNP became the first party to win a clear majority with 69 seats. It meant a drubbing for Labour. The party's leader in Scotland is standing down.
Labour did better in elections for the Welsh Assembly. They fell just one seat short of an outright majority, with 30 seats. Their gains were made mainly at the expense of their former coalition partners, Plaid Cymru. The Conservatives will be happy with a surprise second place, but there was more misery for the Lib Dems.
Nick Clegg's party appears to be bearing the brunt of dissatisfaction with the coalition government just 1 year after the general election. With them weakened, what could this mean for future cooperation with the Conservatives? Here's our political editor, Tom Bradby.
Whichever way you cut it, this was, for the Lib Dems, a night to forget. If this is what being in government is about, their faces seem to say, I can live without it. From count to count, city to city, and candidate to candidate, the shotgun marriage with the Tories had never felt more awkward. And it wasn't long before some started to draw a simple conclusion. Clegg must go.
I think that Nick Clegg is now discredited as a national leader of a political party, and that in order for the Liberal Democrats to start to rebuild from this position, we need a new leader, so I'm calling on him to resign as party leader.
If that was not a unique sentiment, Nick Clegg remains in a relatively strong position, since there is no obvious alternative candidate or strategy, but he did look as if he'd taken a heavy blow.
In politics, as in life, sometimes you get these big ups and downs, and we have taken a real knock last night. We will need to learn the lessons from what we heard on the doorstep, but we need to get up, dust ourselves down, and move on. Because we've got a really big job to do. We need to provide optimism, hope, and jobs for people up and down the country.
It may be up to